Welcome back, guys. Welcome back to the motorsport vlog. And today we're going to pick up a 2001 Trx90. I found this thing on Marketplace the other day for, I think the guy had it listed on there for like $500, and I talked him down to $350. It's supposed to run. It needs to be put back together is what he says. So we're going to head down about an hour south of the house and see if this thing is worth picking up and seeing if we can't make a little content with it. But it was just such a good deal, I didn't feel like I could really pass it up. So but yeah, so let's get headed down there. All right, guys, well, we got this thing picked up from the owner. The carburetor and stuff was off of it. They said it ran, but obviously it didn't. The carburetor was sitting up underneath the seat, and it was sitting outside, so it's got water down in the motor. So I'm not sure what kind of shape this motor is going to be in, but we're going to try to put some Marvel Mystery Oil down into the cylinder and let it sit and see if we can make it run. But we'll give it a shot, you know. But all right, guys, I'll catch back up with you when I get back to the house. All right, guys, we got back to the house with this thing. So basically what the deal was is it was supposed to be running, and I got there, talked with the seller, and it was sitting outside without no carburetor. So as you can imagine, it had water down in the cylinder. The cylinder still moved over, but it was squirting water up out of there, and I told the seller I just couldn't give him the money he was asking for it. So you can hear it. So I offered him a low price of $50, and he took it. So we ended up bringing this thing back, and so I think the first order of business is to be able to get it in the shop and pull the spark plug out of it and put a bunch of Marvel Mystery Oil down the cylinder and let it sit, and well, pull it over a bunch of times, try to get as much of that water out as we can, and then do the oil down the cylinder. But so that's going to be the plan. Guys, I think this was a bad idea on my end. I don't know, but for $50, I don't think I could go wrong with it, but pretty bad. It's definitely not as good as what I was hoping for. But the deal was I found this thing on Marketplace, and the guy had it on there for $500, and it was down about an hour south of my house, and he said it ran, and he had took the plastics off of it and had never put it back together. And in the pictures you couldn't see that the carburetor and stuff was off of it. So I got down there to the guy's house, and he had a big shop behind his house and a lean-to off the back of it. And for whatever reason, this thing was sitting a foot in front of the lean-to, you know. It's unfortunate that they couldn't have, you know, scooted it back up in there just a little bit more, and you know, the price difference and all that would have been a lot different for the guy. But being that the carburetor was open and no telling how long rainwater been getting down in there, I'm shocked that it's not seized up. But we're gonna try to give it another chance at life. So we'll see if we can't make this thing run just like this. I mean, it still has compression. I mean, it very well may run still, so we'll find out. All right, I saved the surprise for y'all. Let's see what the spark plug looks like. Not really that bad. Definitely has got a bunch of rainwater in it. Let's see. We'll try to turn this thing over and see what comes out of it. Oh God, I shot stuff everywhere. Yeah, had all the water in it, so we're gonna get this thing soaking with some Croil, or not Croil, but Marvel Mystery Oil, and let it sit for a little while before I even mess with it. What's going on, guys? We're back out here again in the shop. It's been quite a few days since we've been out here working on anything. I've been letting this Trx90 right here, I've been letting it soak, the top end soak from where it had all that water sitting in it. So I think we're gonna try to spray some ether or something down this thing's throat and see if it'll start up. Then after that, we'll start looking at the carburetor situation. I'm telling you guys, man, this thing was an absolute mess when I went to pick it up. The guy that I bought it from said that it ran. It just needed some work to be put back together. And once I got there, I found that the carburetor was off of it. Matter of fact, there was 2 cheap carburetors laying in this little compartment right here. So yeah, he said that he didn't know that it had been left like that, but we had just had a really bad storm too the night before, so a bunch of water got down in the intake and it was just a bad deal. So I winded up, he originally wanted like $500 for this thing, and I told him there was no way that originally I talked him down to $350, and then I told him there was no way that I could even give him $350 for it. I was actually about to walk away from it. I mean, once I figured out there was water in the motor and I pulled it over and it hydro-locked, I was like, I think I'm out. You know, I don't need it. Like, I don't need a project like that. So I had actually kind of turned it down, and I told the guy, it's like, you know, the best I could probably do is $50. And he was like, all right, well, let's load it up then. So he took it, so I drug it home with me. But after letting it sit and soak, it seems pretty good. I got the oil out of it and threw it down on the ground like this. So I say let's check for spark on this thing and see what we've got. All right, I don't know if you guys seen that or not, but we got some spark in this rig. So let's try to throw some ether down this thing and see if we can't get this thing to pop off. All right, guys, we're gonna do some work on this pull cord first. It just had too much. It keeps sticking and stuff, and I ain't gonna sit there and try to deal with it trying to get it to start. So we're gonna pop this thing off and see if we can't get this pull mechanism working a little better. and we'll try this again. All right, the plug had a little bit of oil on it still from where I was letting it soak, so I got the plug cleaned back off and thrown back in here. So let's see if this thing will pop off now. All right, squirt.
Smoky.
All right, there you guys go. We got it to pop off just then, so now we need to take a look at these carburetors. They're pretty rough. Let me show you what we're dealing with here. Everybody knows how I love cheap Chinese carburetors, and boy was this thing just full of a bunch of them. So we're gonna try to make one of them work though. We're gonna try to take them both apart, clean them, and you know, see if one of them won't work for us, and that way we're able to crank this thing up and see what it'll do. So I guess that's going to be the next order of business. We'll clean this workbench up a little bit and get these carburetors taken apart and see which of the two evils we're going to try to use. Guys, these things are pretty rough. This is one of them right here after I popped the bowl off of it. And this is the other. Super crusty. So I think we're gonna probably go with this one. I'm gonna look around in my parts bin and see. I may have another one that I pulled off of another Trx90 when we first got it. So I'm gonna look around my parts box and see what I come up with. All right, guys. I'm back out here in the shop tonight and I'm messing with these carburetors and stuff, and I've discovered something over the last few days that for some reason everybody that buys aftermarket carburetors for these Trx90s, the barrel size right here is always wrong on them. So this is the throttle cable off of the Trx90, and you can see how small that is. It won't won't screw on there. So the more I'm learning is I think the 90 size carburetor is so common that they probably make a lot of these carburetors, and they're meant to fit like the ATC 90s, the ATC 110s, because it's very similar to the ATC 110 carburetor, almost identical. So I think that's what the issue is. But if you search it by part number, you can find these cheap Chinese carburetors that bolt right up to the Trx90s. So I think I'm going to end up doing that. I'm going to order the parts, and we'll just put a cheap carburetor on this thing, but maybe put some good Mikuni jets in it and see if it runs pretty good. But so with that being said, we're gonna switch gears while we're waiting on those parts to come in. I am going to start on my 86 250R right here. I'm gonna pull the motor out of this thing this week, so this should be next week's video. But I'm gonna get the motor pulled out of that thing, and we're gonna get some Trike Fest preparation started because it's coming very quickly. So I looked at the calendar the other day and realized we only have got two completely full months that, you know, until Trike Fest. And sometimes I wait. I don't know, every year I've been pretty good about getting my stuff done pretty early, but it seems like, you know, once it gets down to the last few weeks or whatever, you're making sure the trailer's ready to go and all that kind of stuff. And the last thing you really want to be doing is fooling with machines at the very last minute. So I'm going to go ahead and get started on that. I've got almost all the parts ready for it. I've got an engine bolt kit for it. I've got the servo tires. The wheels should be here any day now. The mail's extremely messed up for some reason. Something about they changed the shipping facility in Atlanta, and the personnel, they don't have enough personnel or something, but pretty much all of my mail that I've ordered in the last 2 or 3 weeks is just sitting in Atlanta. There's a wheel bearing for Oakland's Trx90 that's been sitting up there for 2 weeks at this point. So I think that's going to be the plan, though, is I don't want to be sitting here waiting on a bunch of parts for this Trx90 to come in, and I've got stuff sitting here that we can do to this 250R, and honestly, I think everybody would rather see 250R content than the 90, so I'm going to push that thing out of the way, and I'm going to start working on that for next week's video. But so I hope you guys like this video. I know I was hoping to do a complete startup and maybe even a somewhat of a ride, but hey, it did fire up, so y'all got to see that. And I mean, it went from being full of water to, you know, it popped off of some starting fluid. So I mean, that's pretty cool. So we're going to we're gonna get some parts ordered for that thing. I'm gonna set it to the side for right now, and we'll get rolling on this 250R project and get that underway. So I think that's about to be what we're about to be working on here in the next few weeks, is all, you know, three-wheeler Trike Fest related content. So I've got quite a bit of parts for that 250R, and I need to get it started on it before, like I said, I'm sitting here at the last minute with a bunch of stuff to do. So I don't want that. But yeah, guys, so I hope if you guys like this video, you guys will come back, like, share, comment, subscribe. That stuff helps us out quite a bit, and hopefully we can keep some pretty good entertaining content for you guys coming up here soon. So I know it seems like everybody likes the three-wheeler content a lot more, so that probably needs to be the direction that we stick with. I'm going to try out this F100 here before long and see if people are interested in seeing some stuff on that. I've also got a bunch of parts for it, and I just need to get going on it. So I'm sure everybody can relate to having plenty of stuff to do and not enough time to do it. So, but with that being said, y'all come back, like, share, comment, subscribe, and we will see you guys on the next one.